Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for our second topic of discussion for today, and we're going to be talking about the official statement issued by the Egyptian Parliament, or the Egyptian House of Representatives, chaired by Parliament Speaker Dr. Ali Abdel Al, condemned and rejected on Friday the decision of the European Parliament tackling the human rights situation in Egypt. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. A very good morning, Ambassador. Ambassador Bayoumi, do you have my voice? Ambassador Bayoumi? Ambassador Bayoumi, do you have my voice? Yes, and we're going to be talking about as I noted earlier in my introduction, about the reaction of the House of Parliament to the statements made by the European Parliament, and the Parliament has said that the Europeans' decision is unacceptable, unbalanced, and inappropriate for the Egyptian-European strategic partnership. And also the Parliament added that the decision has contained some misinformation, and calling on the European Parliament to look objectively to the situation in Egypt. And also the statement made by the Egyptian House of Parliament has noted that the European Parliament should look objectively, rather, to the Egyptian efforts to maintain stability and security. I believe we're being joined now live over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, a former Assistant Foreign Minister. Do you have my voice, Ambassador?
Yes. How are you?
Yes, a very good morning to you, sir. Well, first of all, I'd like to know your stance or your opinion towards the statements that were made by the European Parliament, and of course the reply of the Egyptian Parliament, or the comments made by the Egyptian Parliament in this regard.
This is not the first time we are facing something like that. And in general, we are facing what we can call double standards in Europe towards their main partners. Here we have to be very tough there. And I am quite glad with the declaration of our parliament, because we cannot stand silent like that. But at the same time, I will be happy if we continue the dialogue. We can invite the president or the chairman of the European Parliament. We can invite the Committee of Foreign Affairs in the Parliament. And we can use an old mechanism we had before, which is the union of Euro-Mediterranean parliaments. And by the way, our chairman, our speaker of the Egyptian Parliament, Dr. Surur, was the chairman of this union. So I believe that some member of our parliament now has experience through the good relation between our parliamentarians and the European Parliament also. Because really we are suffering of this sort of double standard. If they talk badly about our religion or about our prophet, this is a sort of freedom, but we cannot make our laws or to organize how to compose a civil society here. And once during the negotiations, I asked my European counterparts, let us choose any law, but we should impose it in your cases and in our cases. But you need to impose your laws in your countries, but not in our country. And I think in any place in Europe, you cannot get a civil society organization without sort of permission from the government, and to declare your sources of finance and money from where you are getting your finance. If you do that in Europe, you are facing severe laws. If we impose it in our cases in Egypt, they are objecting this. So we have to deal with this with a sort of calm attitude, and taking in consideration that after all, the European Union is our main trade partner and one of the main investors in Egypt. Also, that Egypt is very important partner to Europe as a Mediterranean and South Mediterranean country. The dialogue should continue, and at the same time we have to face any bad practices from any organization or any place, wherever it comes from Europe.
Ambassador Bayoumi, do you see this statement made by the European Parliament as meddling in the Egyptian internal affairs?
I think so, but I am not so nervous about it. Let us talk about here and there. And the most important thing is to get the realities very clear to everybody. Sometimes we were so generous when some guests from Europe, foreign minister or so, are asking about the freedom of religion in Egypt. And I remember our Minister of Foreign Affairs once he asked one of his guests, it was a foreign minister, to visit Sheikh Al-Azhar and to visit the Pope also, to discuss with them frankly what he is asking for. This is of course something about our internal affairs, but we have nothing to hide, and this is not a political problem at all.
Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, really appreciate your insight, and thank you so much for joining us live over the phone on The Breakfast Show on Nile TV International. And dear viewers, by this we come to the end of today's episode of The Breakfast Show. Just a quick recap, we talked about the magnificent archaeological discoveries that were recently made in Saqqara, and we also talked about the reaction of the Egyptian Parliament to the European Parliament's most recent statements. And dear viewers, you're in the company of myself and my dear colleague Dina Hussein. Until we meet again, this is goodbye.